In order to save his prodigal son Ian Rogers, Steve and his team will need to take a dangerous trip all the way back to Dimension Z. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue number 12, a continuation of the Cold War crossover event, and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, picking up directly from where the last issue had left off, Steve, Sam, and the team had fallen into a crevasse to find the survivors of this small Alaskan town holding out against all the craziness the Outer Circle has dropped on their doorstep. The two Captain Americas, along with Misty Knight and Sharon, decide to tool up with all the warm gear they can find, in a scene that very much reminds me of old toy commercials when they release Arctic Assault variants of your favorite figures. The plan is for Sam to use his connection to the local birds to help them see through the blizzard. Of course, even once they do that, on the other side they have an absolute mountain of tithed agents as well as monsters from Dimension Z pouring on in that they're going to have to deal with. Worse still though, much like in the previous issue, Sam Wilson has his own concerns about Steve, whether or not he'll be willing to do everything that needs to be done in this upcoming fight with Bucky. It seems that Steve's love for Bucky, despite all the horrible things he's done recently, has blinded him, and it only gets worse because Steve's love for Ian has also made him a little bit reckless. Sam admits he's not a dad, so he doesn't 100% know what Steve is going through, but acting like a human missile certainly isn't going to help anyone. Now in this issue we actually get to check on in with the money and the power of the Outer Circle to see how they're dealing with Bucky the Revolution's recent betrayal. And honestly it's not well, so much to the point the other members of the Outer Circle are actively making fun of them for their failure, and the Power is still licking his wounds following getting beaten up by Captain America. Power and money may have been fighting each other when all of this started, but it seems that if they want to control the next part of the Century game, they might very well have to join forces. Then of course there's still the wild card in all of this, Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow. She had come seemingly to kill Bucky at the end of the previous issue, and the two of them have it out in this one. Winter Soldier maintains that everything he's doing as the Revolution is part of a greater good, and if Nat doesn't believe him, she can actively stick around here in Dimension Z and watch him. Which certainly doesn't seem like something a traditional supervillain would do, willingly hold himself accountable. Though Widow certainly questions Bucky's actions that get people like Roger Aubrey killed. She wonders if he's lying to the world or lying to himself right now. Now back over with the Caps, even though they're still at odds with each other, the plan is the same. Rush the Dimension Z gate, get inside, deal with Bucky, and rescue Ian. They think they may finally have their moment when the monsters overrun the tithed agents, but when Sam and Steve are looking the other way, one of the big crazy generals gets the drop on them, only for Sharon to deliver the knockout blow with a level of power and ferocity we don't rarely see from her. Again, I mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. I think they're definitely planting the seeds right now for her to become the brand new Destroyer, taking up the dead Aubrey's old mantle. Now when the team actually makes it to Dimension Z, it's completely different. After all, Sam and Steve had defeated Armin Zola all the way back in the Special Zero issue that kicked off these two series, and because time moves differently in Dimension Z, it's been maybe thousands of years for this place to grow wild and untamed. This return is also weirdly nostalgic for Steve, who remembers all the years he spent actually raising young Ian in this place, never sure whether or not he would be able to make it back home. It's also here too, White Wolf and Winter Soldier end up having a breakdown in communication. Bucky wants him to handle this situation one way, but Hunter has other ideas, setting a bunch of those strange crystals that have been part of this series since the very beginning to self-destruct. And believe it or not, it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everybody. And so that was Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue number 12, and overall I thought this one was just fine. In fact, in many ways I feel like this is a total retread of the last part of this crossover series. We don't learn anything new, the story doesn't really progress that much further outside the fact that the two Captain Americas and their ladies are now in Dimension Z. Beyond that, they basically just hit all the same notes over and over again. Sam isn't sure if he can trust Steve, Steve isn't sure if he trusts himself as he's having a lot of complicated emotions right now when it comes to saving Ian and dealing with Bucky. Even the big Black Widow reveal, which was an interesting twist at the end of the previous issue, falls a little flat here. Who's she working for? Why is she here now? How was she able to get to Bucky so quickly? Is she a star point too? These are all questions I certainly hope they answer moving forward, because despite this series feeling like it's running in place right now, I am still pretty damn invested in the proceedings. And I sure hope they can kick in the turbos moving forward. Overall, I would give this one a 7 out of 10. Decent, but could have been so much better. In fact, as I sit here and look at my editing editing timeline, I am genuinely struggling to make this one 5 minutes.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.